Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip pens in color format. This is a really exciting release. We'll be going over a couple of different things. First of all, I'm going to be demoing each marker so that you can see how they write and the colors that come in the pack. Secondly, I will be comparing them to the Pentel sign markers to see how the colors vary from each other, and to also give you a visual understanding of how the markers differ from each other in technique. And lastly, I will be showing you a demo of blending and how you can use these markers together to create some really cool blended watercolor looks. First of all, the markers come in a pack of 10 in a plastic reusable case. They've included one of their well-loved traditional black Fudenosuke pens, and then the rest are in different colors. They have the same barrel design except for a slightly shinier finish, but their caps and ends correspond to the actual color of the pen, which is really nice. One nice new update is that they have finally clearly labeled in English the fact that this is the hard tip pen. Previous versions of the marker only had Japanese characters, and you had to look really closely for slight differences to figure out if you were using the hard or the soft tip. So here I'm holding an older Fudenosuke pen that I bought a couple months ago, and you can see that everything is the same, but it is now clearly labeled in English what kind of pen it is. The nib on all of the markers looks exactly the same to the traditional black pen, which I personally find very exciting. If you aren't familiar with the small hard tip Fudenosuke brush pen, it's fantastic for beginners and experienced letterers alike because of the way that the nib snaps back quickly to its normal state, which allows you to achieve beautifully thin upstrokes. This is the main reason many people are excited about this release, because other markers that have been on the market for a longer time have a much softer tip and can therefore be a bit more difficult to use and achieve those thin upstrokes that so many of us are after. I really like how they write. I find that I get really great ombre looks just like you do with the original Tombow dual brush pens. And I personally really like that. I know that some people may not like that, but it's something that I actually find to be a pro. Another thing to note is that these markers are water-based markers, so you can blend them with water, which I'll show you later on in the video. That being said, they can also be reactivated with water, which means they are not permanent, and you need to make sure that you don't use them on projects that could be exposed to water, or at least make the effort to protect them. So when these came out, the first thing that popped into my mind is I already have the Pentel sign pens. How will they be different other than the tip? And as you can see here, the colors are definitely more vibrant and I would say juicy. You get less of an ombre effect with these pens than you do with the Tombow. And of course the tip is softer, so you will get, thicker upstrokes and a more consistent color gradient throughout your lettering. There are a couple cases where the Pentel sign has more color variations. For example, there are 2 blues as opposed to the 1 for the Fudenosuke, as well as browns. The brown is a little trickier because you have a true brown and then you have what's considered a gold shade, but really isn't metallic at all or anything, so it reads as a golden brown. Again, as you can see from all of these demos, the Pentel sign pens do tend to be more vibrant, the color is more intense, and the Fudenosuke is a little bit more pastel. I personally love that, but you do need to take this into consideration when you're deciding either which set to get or whether to add these new ones to your collection. I thought it would also be interesting to compare the dual tipped pen to the gray. This is a pen that has 2 soft tip markers on either end. There's a black and a gray, and I wanted to compare these grays to each other to see how they compared. I did find them to be slightly different, but they are pretty close to each other. So here we have an overview of all of the different colors and the comparisons between the Tombow and the Pentel. I love all of them. Again, I am a little bit of a pen addict, so I like having them both, but again, if you have budget issues or you're just a beginner, I would say pick one or the other. My personal favorite type of pen to learn with, again, is the Tombow Fudenosuke, but the Pentel is also really great. Now, the only downside to this little plastic case is that you have to make sure all of the pens are lined up perfectly to get the cap to close correctly. For some reason, these have that little pen hook, cap hook, I guess you could call it, and they all have to be facing straight up in order to close your case and use it again. I usually keep all of my pens in round open containers so I have easy access to them, but it is nice to have these cases for travel, or if you only have one or two sets. It's very easy to store this way. I thought it would be fun to try and show you guys how you can use these smaller pens for blending just like you use the larger dual brush pens, and I found it to be pretty easy. I was really impressed with how well they blended. I didn't have the best paper for blending. My paper was a little bit too smooth. I didn't have marker paper. This is just a smooth inkjet paper that's great for lettering in general, but not great for blending. So what I did was I took my lighter color, which in this case was yellow, and I wrote out my word, and then I took my darker color, which I used orange here, and just drew a little bit of the color in the area that I wanted it, and then I took my blender pen and went over the area until I got a nice gradient and blend, and it worked really well. I was really impressed with this. It worked very similarly to the larger dual brush pens, and it was nice to be able to see that I can get that same effect with smaller designs and not always have to make them very large. So this was done really quickly. I did this design in just only a few minutes, and then I added a little bit of a drop shadow just for dimensional purposes and to make things pop a little bit more. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please subscribe and keep watching for future reviews and tutorials on lettering and other fun lettering tools. See you guys soon.